Hi, it's Friday, and today's project is going to be working on my wood stove, getting it retrofitted with fire brick on the inside. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's going to be kind of tricky in the trailer because the lighting sucks, but hopefully I can get this working reasonably well. Made good progress over the week. I got the um, electrical work inspected. So now I'm waiting on Ontario Hydro to schedule their end of it to put a pole in and a new transformer and then hook me up. So as you might be hearing in the background, there's a hum. That's my generator. I'm still relying on it for electricity. And I'll need that today to run the saw that I need, grinder actually I think is all I need today, hand grinder, to shape the fire bricks that I'm going to put inside the stove. Now I'm going to switch the camera around and then start and stop it as I show my progress on what it is I'm doing. So we'll turn the camera around and see how things go from there. So here we are. Uh, Ignore the mess. I'm an old bachelor in an old trailer. What do you expect? That's Olive. That's one of my cats. Let's see if I can get a picture of the other cat in view there. And that's Nutmeg. And they're starting to get used to being in the new place and happy that they're going outside now when I couldn't allow them to do that in the trailer park that I was in for all summer. And there's Pepper inspecting the work area where the electrical system is all set up. And then way out there is where the pole is going to go in, and then the trench came up here with the cable. That cable, big fat black cable. And here's my little wood stove. It's this is all surface rust and it's kind of crappy looking, but it's actually in excellent shape. And I'm going to be able to do quite a bit of retrofitting on this. You really can't see much right now, but all these pieces, the whole thing is cast iron, except for the new chimney piece there. But this will be reasonably easy to work on because, let's see if I can get that up. This whole piece swings out like that, and I'll be able to lift that off completely, and then I have good exposure to the inside to do my work on the fire brick. This yellow stuff here, that's cement board. It's the type of cement board that you use in behind ceramic tile in bathrooms and stuff like that. That should be adequate for safety considerations. And underneath that is a 1/2 inch rigid foam for insulation, because this whole piece here is the tip out on the trailer. And while the trailer itself has a little bit of insulation in it, and the walls here do have a wee bit of insulation, and it's very slim stuff. The floor here on the tip out doesn't have any insulation. So this is going to be particularly chilly. So the insulation will help a little bit. I think I've noticed it already. Today though is a lovely warm day. It's about 10 degrees centigrade outside. It's going to get much colder tomorrow winter does have to show up soon. I think it's the 20th, November 20th today, and we don't have any snow on the ground. That should come soon enough. Let me start arranging things around here, and I'll be back to show you what I'm planning on doing. Alright, I'm back with the stove. I got the top off here and the door open. And there's the vent here with the logo that I like. So the plan is to use probably two different thicknesses of brick. I have 1.25 inch thickness and 2-inch fire brick. The rest of the dimensions are the same, 4.5 by 9. And I'm going to use the 1.25 inch across the bottom, and I'm going to put sand underneath to level it out some. These fit almost perfectly in there. They're just a hair short of the right length, but that's no matter, it'll work fine. But at the front here, if you see, the vent is actually below the main part of the firebox. I'm going to take that out like so. So this is where you would scrape the ashes down and clean it out here. And the air vent, the fresh air vent, goes below and then up into the firebox. And there's a slope here. I'm going to have to account for that in the fire brick. So I'm going to have to cut a fire brick to slope down like that, so I'll be able to clean it out and air can get in. The first thing, though, is, let's see if I can get this down here. All of these castings are more or less individual pieces, and the seams, if you can see the top there, there's a seam between the top plate and the side plates, and it has some gaps in it that I'm going to have to seal up with fire clay and a little bit of Roxol just to give it some stability. Most of the other seams, though, are in really good shape, so I won't have to really deal with them beyond just getting the fire brick in place. The interior, see if I can get this. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to put sand down. I'm going to put a fire brick in here, across like that, and then the 2-inch I think I'm going to go on the sides, but on the in between the casting and the fire brick I'm going to put Roxol insulation. I like the Roxol because it has a very, very high melting point, but above 1900 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a good insulator and fire prevention material. I'll be using that in my bake oven when I start building it. I bought a whole bunch of this, especially the 2-inch, because that's what I'll make my next bake oven out of. So I'll put these bricks on the side on top of the one at the bottom, and then I can fit a brick across the top like that to seal the firebox completely. And that's still going to give me plenty of room for a fire. The fire brick will hold a lot of heat, so I mean, the cast iron itself doesn't hold any heat at all for any length of time, so it's not going to serve all that well as far as keeping the place warm, especially in the evening. It would, but I mean, you're going to have to keep feeding it constantly, and I don't want to do that if I don't have to. And with the fire brick, it's going to be much safer. The one thing I am going to do, one extra thing I'm going to do here, is I'm probably going to drop a brick in like this. So, and back here somewhere, so that the flame is diverted down around this particular brick, and then up the chimney. That'll slow the release. I mean, otherwise the flames just go this way and shoot straight up the chimney, and I want it to delay that to a certain extent so that I can gain as much benefit out of the fire as possible, retaining it in the box. And of course at the back there I'll be putting fire brick across the back as well, so it'll be encased nicely. So let's see how I can progress over the next couple hours. Hi, we're back after a couple hour interlude as I went and bought a new generator. I didn't want to, but the other one quit working. I think a capacitor burned up on it and it just quit making electricity. Generator, the engine worked fine, and I haven't got time to fix it. And it's an older generator, so it's going to be me trying to find a capacitor that will work, and I'll just cobble it together. In the meantime, though, I finally got back to working on the stove this afternoon, and it's shaping up about the way I expected it to. Let's see, up along the sides, around the edges, and right at the very back. And if you can see that, at the very back, right along there, I've sealed it all up with fire clay and then fire brick with a sand bed underneath the bottom. And these, the bottom ones, those are the 1.25 inch tiles, fire brick, and they're just dry laid in. And then the ones on the sides, these are the 2 inch with the Roxol in behind. Doesn't look very good, but it's going to work just fine. So that's the first layer on the walls, and then I'll have one more row of brick on the top here, and then I can cover it over, and it won't take too long. I've rounded this edge on this little piece here to help with the airflow and cleaning. And then the sides here, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do here. Let's see, where's my hand? There. I'm not quite sure. There's a gap in there, and I don't know if I'll put a piece of fire brick in there, here, or not. And then the top slopes towards the front here. You can see there's this slope here, and there's quite a gap in there, and I'm probably going to just fill that with Roxol. Same with this edge, this indentation here, which is kind of a feature of the side where you get this bolster effect here that holds the top, or gives the top a flange to attach to. That, again, I'll probably just put Roxol in there, and maybe, well, I'll use fire clay to hold it in place, but other than that, that is going to be kind of above the fire brick that's going to be on the top here. So it's not going to get, it'll get warm, but it's not going to get any direct flame. So that's progress for now, and I want to get the bulk of this laid in today, and let the cement dry and see how it comes out. Another thing that I haven't figured out what I'm going to do is, what am I going to do with the back of the door? I may just leave that entirely. We'll see. More to come. Alright, so I'm doing this handheld this time, so it'll be a little bit shakier. But I wanted to show you the detail here of this piece that I'm putting in before I closed it all up. So this is the piece that the firebox is. I light this up a bit. So the firebox is there, and then that piece I want the flame to go underneath and then up the chimney. So I have this kind of blocking the fire from going straight up to the chimney here. What I've done is notched a couple of fire bricks to accommodate this. It goes in there someplace, more or less like that. Sit nicely, and then the top fire brick lines up like that. Okay, so it closes up the box entirely, and then, as I said, I'll fill in with Roxol on either side, and the flame's not going to get in there anyway. So that's I think how I'll work it. All right, that's about it as far as putting the bricks in. I've got the pieces at the top there fitted in nicely. I'm going to leave the sides for now. I'm going to fire it up once I get the chimney in. I'll have to go up there and finish that. The back here is fine as far as I can tell for now. And the front is fine. And I was going to see, here's the vent here. Oop. There's the vent. And there goes in there, and there's a pan for the ashes that you can scrape out. And then it goes up into the firebox. And I was going to not put this one piece in. Let me get this out of here. I was going to leave it like that, and I still might. Excuse me. But this is the 1.25 inches, and I stuck that in there. Excuse me. Dry spot, not COVID. That still gives me lots of air here, and it shoots up in there just fine. Well, we'll see. Once I fire it up, we'll see how it behaves. I might have to take that out again. That's why I'm not going to lock it up. So, put the top on it, let it dry out, get the chimney on, and see how she behaves.